Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." This thought-provoking quote from Jung invites us to look at our relationship struggles from a fresh perspective. When we face difficult people, those who constantly seem to challenge, annoy, or even hurt us, the natural reaction is to avoid them or try to change them. But what if, instead of just focusing on the other person's behavior, we turned our gaze inward? What if these interactions were actually a revealing mirror, reflecting hidden parts of our own psyche? Jung teaches us that the discomfort we feel towards others is often a sign of unresolved aspects within ourselves. These uncomfortable encounters have the power to expose our shadow, the parts of our personality that we don't accept or have pushed aside. According to Jung, the shadow consists of everything we deny about ourselves, whether due to social pressure, fear, or shame. When we come across a difficult person, what we might actually be seeing is a projection of our own repressed qualities. The aim of this video is to explore how we can use these challenging interactions as opportunities for personal growth and inner transformation. We'll look into how Jung's concept of the shadow applies to dealing with difficult people, and how we can turn these encounters into a journey of self-discovery and healing. By understanding that these uncomfortable experiences are, in fact, a call to individuation, the process of becoming our true selves, we can learn to face these challenges with greater wisdom and compassion. Throughout this script, we'll dive into the world of Jungian psychology, exploring strategies and insights that can help us handle difficult people in a more mindful and mature way. The journey might be uncomfortable, but it's in that very tension that we find the true path to self-awareness. Carl Jung developed a groundbreaking approach to understanding the human psyche, especially through concepts like the shadow and individuation. When it comes to dealing with difficult people, these ideas are incredibly relevant. Jung believed that our negative reactions to others' attitudes or behaviors are deeply rooted in our own shadow. But what exactly is this shadow? The shadow is a part of the unconscious, where we store all aspects of our personality that we've rejected or don't accept. These are traits, desires, impulses, or behaviors that, for one reason or another, were deemed unacceptable by our conscious mind or by society. These repressed elements of the psyche don't just vanish. Instead, they continue to influence our attitudes, decisions, and reactions, especially in our interactions with others. When we encounter someone who irritates us, who provokes us, or challenges us in ways that make us uncomfortable, Jung suggests that this person is often triggering a part of our own shadow. For example, if we're impatient with someone who is extremely controlling, it might be because we also have a desire for control within us that we've suppressed or refused to acknowledge. In this way, the other person's behavior acts as a mirror, reflecting something we need to explore within ourselves. The process of individuation, central to Jungian psychology, is precisely the journey of integrating these repressed parts of the psyche to live a more balanced and authentic life. Accepting and recognizing the shadow is a crucial step in this process. When we become aware of our own dark aspects, we gain more control over our emotional reactions, and difficult people lose their power over us. Jung teaches us that true freedom comes when we accept and integrate these denied aspects of ourselves. Instead of merely trying to avoid or change the people who irritate us, we can use these situations as opportunities to dive deeper into our own psyche and begin working on our own inner transformation. Dealing with difficult people then becomes less about changing them and more about transforming ourselves. This approach might seem challenging, but it's precisely in that tension and discomfort where the potential for profound growth lies. Embracing our shadow allows us to turn these difficult interactions into a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, aligning us more fully with our true selves. To illustrate how Jung's concept of the shadow manifests in our interactions with difficult people, let's explore some practical examples that can help us understand this dynamic more concretely. Imagine you have a coworker who is extremely critical and negative. Every time you present an idea, they point out the flaws and weaknesses, never offering a word of praise or encouragement. The initial reaction might be one of frustration or anger, perhaps even a desire to avoid this person. But Jung invites us to pause and ask ourselves, what exactly about this person irritates me so much? Could it be that on some level their critical behavior stirs up a sense of insecurity about our own abilities? Or maybe it reveals our tendency to avoid self-criticism to stay within our comfort zone. Another common example is dealing with someone who is arrogant or overly confident. At first glance, we might feel annoyed by this attitude of superiority, but if we look closer, that irritation might be a clue to our own shadow. Perhaps there is a part of us that also wants to express ourselves more confidently, but we repress it out of fear of appearing arrogant or being judged. These situations work as mirrors, reflecting the parts of us that have yet to be accepted or integrated. Jung said that these difficult interactions can offer us a valuable opportunity for personal growth. The behavior we see in others, which bothers us so much, might actually be an invitation to explore our own psyche more deeply and address our insecurities, fears, or repressed desires. A powerful metaphor to understand this dynamic is to think of these difficult people as our unintentional teachers. Just like a teacher challenges us to learn and overcome our limitations, these people unknowingly offer us the chance to face our own inner conflicts. Instead of seeing them as enemies or obstacles, we can begin to view them as catalysts for our personal evolution. In practice, this means that every time we feel a strong reaction to a difficult person, we can ask ourselves, what is this situation trying to teach me about myself? This kind of self-reflection is the first step toward turning a negative interaction into an opportunity for self-knowledge and emotional development. By becoming aware of these dynamics, we can change the way we react to difficult people. Rather than letting ourselves be carried away by the impulse to react negatively or to avoid them, we can ask how we might use this situation to explore our own shadow and take a step forward in our journey of individuation. As we delve deeper into the concept of dealing with difficult people in light of Jung's ideas, we find a direct connection to the process of healing and the pursuit of inner freedom. Jung believed that integrating the shadow is essential for personal transformation. Without this integration, we are destined to project our internal conflicts onto others, creating a continuous cycle of frustration and tension in our relationships. Accepting the wounds that emerge in our interactions with difficult people is closely linked to the collective unconscious, a deeper layer of our psyche that, according to Jung, is made up of shared memories, images, and behavioral patterns common to all humans. Within this collective unconscious are archetypes that influence how we react to life's experiences, including how we handle interpersonal challenges. For example, the shadow archetype, which represents everything that is repressed or unknown within us, is constantly seeking expression. When we encounter difficult people, they often activate this archetype, bringing to the surface feelings and reactions that are not just personal, but also universal. This explains why we sometimes react so intensely to certain behaviors. We're not only dealing with the other person, but also with an archetypal part of ourselves that deeply resonates with the conflict at hand. Another interesting connection is with the warrior archetype, symbolizing the courage and strength to face challenges. When we confront a difficult person, we are called to activate this archetype within ourselves, not to fight the other person, but to confront our own emotions and resistances. The real battle happens within, where we challenge our own limitations, insecurities, and fears. Jung invites us to see these difficult interactions as opportunities for transformation. By recognizing the presence of the shadow and working consciously to integrate it, we begin to change how we respond to adverse situations. This integration doesn't mean that we stop feeling irritated or uncomfortable, but that we learn to respond in a more conscious and balanced way. Dealing with the shadow and these archetypes frees us from automatic behavior patterns, allowing us to live more authentically. When we accept that difficult people are part of our process of self-discovery and healing, they cease to be a threat and become gateways to a deeper understanding of who we are. The key to this transformation is continuous self-reflection and the willingness to look within, even when it means confronting parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden. In doing so, we not only move closer to our own individuation, but also become more compassionate and self-aware in our relationships with others. It's essential to remember that true power lies in our ability to transform these challenging experiences into opportunities for growth and self-knowledge. Jung said that the process of individuation, becoming who we truly are, inevitably involves confronting and integrating our shadow. When we embrace this journey, we start to realize that the people who irritate or challenge us are, in fact, great allies on our path to personal development. The secret to dealing with difficult people is not to try to change them or eliminate our immediate discomfort, but rather to use these interactions as a mirror to reflect on our own psyche. Jung teaches us that what we see in others is often a projection of something within us, waiting to be seen and understood. So instead of reacting with anger, frustration, or judgment, we can ask ourselves, what is this situation trying to teach me about myself? By embracing our wounds and vulnerabilities, we allow our shadow to come to the surface, and with that, we begin to integrate it into our conscious self. This act of acceptance is not a sign of weakness, but of courage. It takes bravery to face the parts of ourselves that we'd prefer to hide. But it is in this confrontation that true freedom resides. For the more we integrate our shadow, the less we are controlled by the automatic emotional responses that imprison us. Jung believed that individuation is a continuous process, and that each difficult encounter we have with others is a new opportunity to get closer to our most authentic self. By shifting our focus from blaming others to understanding ourselves, we take responsibility for our own evolution and begin to walk a path of profound transformation. Dealing with difficult people then stops being a burden and becomes a spiritual practice, a way to cultivate patience, compassion, and self-understanding. We come to see these interactions as part of our personal journey, designed to help us awaken to a higher awareness of ourselves and the world around us. So the next time you find yourself facing a difficult person, remember Jung's words and ask yourself, what is this person revealing about me that I still need to understand? By doing so, you take an important step toward your own healing and inner freedom, moving toward a life where you're no longer a slave to your unconscious reactions, but rather the conscious author of your own story. True liberation comes when we accept our wounds and allow ourselves to learn from them, because in the end, as Jung taught us, the path to wholeness and our true self leads through the darkness of our shadow, which becomes lighter when we illuminate it with the light of awareness.